So, I guess this is where it begins. The Conservative Justice Podcast. Welcome. First ever episode. Today we talk about the liberals. We are not the problems. Guess who it is? It's the liberals. Alright, so to get this started off, I'm your host, Mason Young. We have a live chat right here. I know nobody's really watching this at the moment. But I just want to say this real quick, and this podcast was made in the memory of a very, very special person. Not just to me, but to apparently millions of people, not even just in the U.S. His name is Charlie Kirk. He was shot at Utah Valley University, and at September 10th, 2025. I make this podcast in memory of him, not only for what he has done for this country, but what he has done for the world and for Jesus Christ. I also want to say this, and that is, we're not the evil ones. Us as conservatives are labeled as the evil ones, and we are not. And in fact, I cannot stand to hear us being called fascist, us being called Nazis, us being called communists, us being called things that are completely out of pocket, when in reality, it's the people that are those things that are calling us those things. You want to take a look at this? And this is just what these people have done in the past couple of years, not just what we say they do, and because they do it, and even some Democrats will say that they do, because you know why? They do. So I want to say this, and that is, we're not the evil ones. I said that already, and I will say it again. But I also want to say another thing. As evil as this world is, and as evil as people can be, we need to fight biblically against it. We need to vote biblically and fight biblically against what is going on in this world, because this world is a wicked place and Satan roams. But I do want to say that. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to start this stream off with we are not the bad guys. And I'm saying this because, again, we're labeled as a fascist, and we are labeled as the people that we are not. And in fact, it is the other side that are calling us these things that are actually these things. Have you ever realized that? Is that the liberals call us Nazis. They say we supported Hitler. But guess what? Most of what they believed in lined up exactly with what Hitler believed. Think about this. And this is not just from Fox News or stuff like that. No, this is from what I've seen personally and what I've researched. One big thing with what I see the liberals doing is they try to take over the White House to get rid of their opponent. Well, I mean, what happened in last year, literally almost a year ago. Biden tried to put Trump in prison for 700 something years for literally just trying to run. And I'm going to say something real quick, and it is not going to make a lot of people happy. Kamala did. Kamala was the one that ruled over Biden. If you've seen that video of the picture of Joe Biden in the White House, or the picture of Joe Biden's picture in the White House with the row of presidents, you'll see all of the row of presidents, Obama and then Trump, and you'll see Biden's auto pen, and it is so funny because his pen did so much more than he did. It was actually so funny. So, what's going on? There we go. So, I'm gonna pull that video up for just a second and show you this.
The beautiful, resolute desk. Stop Biden, because I don't think Biden knew what was happening. I think that the auto pen is one of the biggest scandals in the history of this country, because the person that operated the auto pen was the president of the United States. These are people that.
That's not that good of a video. There we go. I've seen this. It's like the funniest thing. It was my own mother that pointed this out to me. Ugh, Obama. And look at that, by the way. If you have seen what they did to Trump, they made his mugshot his picture just because people wanted him to be shown as some absolute fascist or some absolute communist or some absolute crime committing monster. And I'm telling you what, I'm voting for him. I can't, but I would. I've heard so many times that Trump is the Antichrist, and I even myself would claim that maybe even he is. And I get that from mostly Elon and because they were dating for a long time. I say that all the time. I say dating. So I'm gonna pull up the video of Elon's X post on the Lord's Prayer. So, Jamie, pull that video up. So, what's funny is that Elon is a hardcore atheist. I don't even think that he has a lot of he doesn't even really have a lot of a lot of meaning in what he does other than he just hated the Democrats. Even then, I completely agree with him. I would vote against the Democrats a lot. And I was talking to my own grandfather, and he said that, he believes that and he's very not, he does not know anything about technology. So what I see with him is that he knows a lot of what he's talking about. He can't really back it up, and that mainly is a reason being because he cannot. He doesn't know a lot about technology. Anyway, that's one of the biggest things is that you can't you can't really, unless you watch the news 24/7, which he doesn't. You need technology. If you want to get into politics, you need technology. And it's not coming from me, it's coming from so many other people. Because you just don't know. And let me tell you, liberals, TikTok, no. It's not where we need to get our stuff from. You know why? Because there's so much misinformation on TikTok. It's on. I will laugh at it. I cannot even hold my laughter in at the sound of, oh, Charlie was a racist. No, he wasn't. It's just that simple. Where do you get this Charlie was a racist kind of thing? There's nowhere that you could get it from. And if someone can actually find a video that I will be happy to look at, please do. I will be happy to look at any video that you send me. You know why? Do you know why? Do you know why, little viewers? Do you know why? I don't. I don't know why I put up with this. Why do I put up with liberals telling me what I can and can't do? Why do I even put up with liberals in the US? Have you ever noticed this? And that is, the liberals are the ones that are killing. I'm gonna show you this, and I'm gonna show you this. All right, let's back this up. When was the last time someone tried to kill a Democrat? I don't want AI. Okay, maybe I might need it. The 2025 Minnesota shootings were not against the Democrats. I don't know what this AI is yapping. The 2025 Minnesota shooting was a school shooting. Okay, you could even look this up on your own time. It was a school shooting by a transgender person. What party is the one that fights for trans? Is it the conservatives, who are, by the way, usually Christian, or the liberals, who have always fought for this stuff? Which reminds me of the DEI. The DEI, thing sucks. So does the Department of Education. Why are these things even in place? I mean, I get the Department of Education. You need your education. You need your education, says every liberal that goes to college. Which, by the way, you don't need college. Charlie Kirk didn't go to college. See where he's at. Well, I mean, he's dead. See where he went. He was a multimillionaire running a nonprofit company. That just shows that you don't need college. Everything that you need college for is being replaced by AI. And you could not prove me wrong on that. You know why? Because it's a fact. Every single job on the US can be replaced by AI. Or can be replaced by a machine. Are we to that point? No, because we have to make money. Which, by the way, it's going to cost us citizens money, not the government. And that is why Trump has not posted anything on AI. Is because he cares about the people, not the... Okay. He cares about the people and the government. We could so easily get out of debt like that. And, I mean, everyone just chooses the hard way. Trump has chose the hard way. But there's not a president that hasn't chosen the hard way. Now, I'm going to say this. Kamala as president is a joke. It's absolutely a joke. I mean, you see how that election turned out. I mean, yeah, you just look at there are so many sites. I mean, look at this. It's a joke. Look at this. This right here is a joke. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 plus 10 is 21. I'm just kidding. It's 19. 19 plus 8 is 27. 27 plus 12 is... Oh, yeah. 21 plus 12... 27 plus 12... I don't know what is on with me today. 27 plus 12, okay, is... that's 39. 39 plus 10 is 40. 49. 49 plus 19. 49 plus 10 is 59. 59 plus 9 is 68. Plus 1 is 69. Plus 13 is 72. Plus DC, which is 3. That's 72 plus 3, which is 75. 75 plus 10. Okay, 75 plus 10 is 85. 85 plus 3 is 88. 88 plus 14 is 102. 102 plus 7 is 102 plus 7 is 109. 109 plus 4 is 113 113. 113 plus 11 is 124. 124 plus 7 would be 131. 131 plus 28 would be 159, and 159 plus 3 is 162. So let's take that. 162. Let's put that up here. 162. So now we're going to take, because Trump won, that was Kamala's votes. Let's take blank minus 162. Let's do, all right, 40, 70, which, by the way, two states already got a little under half of what Kamala was voted for. The only big state she won was California. All right, so let's take that. 70 plus 8, 78 plus 6, 84. 84 plus 9 is 93. 93 plus 16 109. 109 plus 100 plus 9 is 118. That's the state I live in, by the way. 118 plus 16 it's 134. 134 plus 11. What is 134 plus 11? 145. 145 plus 8. Why can I not think? 145 plus 8. 153. 153 plus 4 is 157. 157 plus 19 is 176. 176 plus 17 is 193. 193 plus 11 is 204. 204 plus 15. So I'm wanting 219. By the way, we've taken over the East and the Midwest. Think about that. The East and the Midwest, that's completely just barnacles. I just like saying that word, barnacles. We've already taken over the East. Okay. So what's that? 219 plus 10 is 229. So 229 plus 6 is 235. 235 plus 10 is 245. 245 plus 6, okay, would be 251. 251 plus 7 would be 258. 258 plus 6 is 264. Do you see where I'm going here? You could see where I'm going. You see where this is the generation Zoomer, which is Gen Z. This is the highest conservative group of people, of voters, in the history of the United States. It is. And Democrats better watch out. There's no telling what is going to go on with this. But there is. And what's going to happen is, I hope Kamala runs again. And I'm saying that because I want another win. I hope she runs until she dies. That way we can have the most presidencies and fix the country. Which, by the way, liberals are just going to tear down. And this is the first year, or the first, the first presidency where we've had both a Republican Congress and Republican president. And last time we saw that was, I'm pretty sure it was Bush. Oh yeah, last time there was a government shutdown. That was like last year. I think there's a shutdown every year. And so, I mean, and I know what the liberals are going to do. They're going to pin it on us. You know why? Because Trump's in office. And that's fair, okay? But what happened with Biden? Huh? I mean, we're just not going to take that into account? I mean, what happened with Biden was the government shutdown was twice as bad. This government shutdown isn't really a government shutdown. It's the Democrats crying over Trump being Trump. All Trump wants to do is fix the country, and I guess Democrats don't like that. And you know what? That's fair. If you don't like it, it's fair. You could get out. You know, there's something called flights. There's something called passport. Something called visas. You know, you can tour these places, see where you want to go. And that's great. That's great. You know. But you ever ask a liberal? A lot of liberals will be like, oh, I hate America. I don't like anything of what Trump is doing. And then someone will be like, all right, well, when are you moving out? Oh, I'm not moving out. I'm staying right here. Because of money. By the way, I'm pretty sure that the U.S. is willing to help you with that. I'd be willing to help you with that. Because I do not want those kind of people here. Those kind of people are very. I'm not going to call them a lot of names because that's unbiblical. Those kind of people are very ignorant, and I know that sounds bad because they are, and it is. I mean, nobody likes to be called ignorant, and I know it sounds like I'm kind of like warming up now, where I'm kind of trying to be more of a more of someone who's not hypocritical. By the way, I'm not. It's the liberals. I know I'm trying to sound like I am, but I'm not. I mean, someone who's a liberal can have a conversation with me, and I'd be completely fine with it. I'm not going to raise my voice. They might raise theirs. I've heard that so many times on debates and just any sort of open mic or just let me know what you think. Any sort of thing with a Republican person at the other end of the mic. All I've heard was, you hate women's rights, you hate black people's rights, and you're a fascist, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you want to get rid of everything that is unconstitutional or everything that is constitutional. We're not like that. Because newsflash, who freed the slaves? Because that sure as heck is not a liberal. That was a conservative Republican by the name of Abraham Lincoln, and I believe it was 1865. I also want to know this. In fact, I might as well even look this up. What was I going to say? Oh, who wrote the, was it 15th? That was, I think it was, who wrote the amendment for women's rights? Okay, I don't know why. I know it was the president. What president? What president passed amendment for women's rights? Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson. So yeah. Woodrow Wilson was he was a Democrat. Okay. You could be wrong. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, the liberals are a lot more than we are. Which, by the way, you can debate with me. There's this Discord channel that I have called the Conservative Justice Podcast Discord channel. If you want to debate. Anyway. So yeah, there was just a lot of controversy with liberals. You know why? Because liberals do not know what they are talking about. Again, I think Kamala did more than Biden did, and that was because Kamala used Biden. And if Kamala used Biden, how do we know that she's not going to use us? Because she will. She sure will. It's all in here. Everything that we need to know is in here. We need to open our eyes. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Charlie Kirk. That was Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson sexuality. Robinson's roommate and romantic partner as a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. So, yeah, so he was gay, and his roommate was transitioning genders. And you are the one telling me that there's not an association with this. Who shot up the school in Minnesota? By the way, this was a Catholic school, and a lot of people are saying that that the Christians aren't the ones being persecuted. They're saying the Christians are the ones who have all the rights and have have all the rights and everything, and all the fame. Look at this. It was a Catholic school. Robert M. Westman. Let's search him up. Let's see. All right, so I'm pretty sure that this was the one. Pretty sure this was one that had a whole bunch of writing on the bullets saying, "I'm a terrorist, kill Donald Trump," stuff like that. He's a tranny, okay? You know, that's another correlation with this, is that it's the trannies who are changing their hormones that it's driving them to do this, and people are defending it. People are defending a school shooting like this because of, look at that. Where is your God? Get clapped. This right here is what we are sticking up for. This right here is what we stick up for and what we defend as Americans. And you're telling me that this right here, where is your God? I mean, think about this. I'm pretty sure that it was CBS that put that only put one of the magazines in the news. And this is what my grandfather is telling me, which I would believe because he watches CBS a lot. Yeah, look at this. But online, some people are creating answers and blame CBS. So this is going to take a while because, here in South Carolina, there's only so much news that we get. Yeah, I mean, they don't really want you to want you to see what these people are putting on there. I mean, obviously, they're gonna put stuff like this to cover up. I can't really find the video because, again, we only get so much news. Especially my grandfather being someone who does not know what technology is. I still love him. I've been able to have so many good conversations with him, and I learned a lot from him. And he was literally talking to me about Charlie Kirk. He said he knew I would be very very upset by Charlie passing. And by the way, this is what I wanted to go to. I think there's going to be more of his tributes. Let's go on Facebook and do this. I'm sure I can find more on there. I'm just going to make sure that appropriate on here because there's a lot of inappropriate stuff on the internet nowadays. So I don't really want to expose my location that much. So can't really see much. I don't know if that's the trivial or if that's him speaking. Yep, that was him. That was trivial. I'll pull the video up in a bit. But my sister, I have to live with my sister, and I don't say I have to because some of the crap that she pulls on me is not the best. So my sister, she is a hardcore liberal. I've tried talking to her about not only Jesus Christ, but um, what is going on in the world, and she cannot change her mind. She seems not to. Um, she seems not to really care. But I mean, she's ignorant, and that's where I get the statement that a lot of that a lot of that a lot of liberals are ignorant, and that's because they are. Uh, I'm not saying that there's any sort of excuse for it. It's absolutely wrong, but it's up to us as people in the government to open their eyes to it. Which is why I don't like CBS. I don't like CBS. I don't really like ABC. I don't like NBC. You know why? Because they're huge liberal, um, huge liberal news sources. My sister literally told me Fox News is labeled as entertainment because of the amount of misinformation it spreads. And I, I didn't really, I didn't hadn't thought about it really, um, because it's not, and I didn't really want to stir up a fight. Um, but I know that it's more of it's because of the amount of shows that they have on there is because like Gutfeld and Hannity and Jesse Waters Primetime, the Five, Fox and Friends. It's because it's news. However, it's coming from different people, and that's why it's labeled as entertainment. Is because it's obviously Jesse Waters and Gutfeld and Hannity tend to really make fun of liberals, and I mean I am too, because I mean how much stupidity can you have? Um, and there are going to be a lot of people that don't like that, and I'm going to tell you something. I don't really care. I don't care. You know, I don't think anyone really does. I don't think anyone cares about what you think. I mean, Charlie did. I obviously, care about who you vote for, but what you think about me doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to change my mind, and the reason for that is because I have the Holy Spirit dwelling in me. I have God's word right here, and it tells me to vote biblically. And the most biblical answer is pro-life, is pro-Jesus, is pro-love, and anti-lust. And what I mean by that is, and when we lust, this is a little Bible time, by the way. When we lust, we don't just lust over, um, we don't lust over people. We lust over sin. We don't love sin. We lust over sin. Um, so I use what is called a Christian Standard Bible. So Yeah, it's a lot cleaner. Or not exactly cleaner, but easier to read. I really encourage that you read a Christian Standard um, if you are younger or just never really bothered to really learn about uh, this stuff. But I just want to show you something. Um, I encourage you to get CSB if you don't exactly know um, how to read KJV or NKJV, or just don't really know how to read a lot of other stuff. It's very, it makes me kind of frustrated to read something like a KJV or NIV or something like that, because I mean I can't really understand the words, and our school uses KJV, and it kind of messes with me. I know a lot of verses in KJV and a lot of verses in CSB, which is why you see a lot of some of the Bible quotes I will say. Some of them will be in KJV, some of them will be in CSB. Like 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether therefore you eat or you drink, or whatsoever you do, do all to the glory of God. That's KJV, whereas CSB was, you know, something like this. And in fact, I might use NLV as well, because, or NLT, because it's explicit. So I mean, it uses more of the words like of sex and stuff like that. So I mean, something that, I mean, if you're getting your kid a Bible, and I mean, he or she is 9, 10, 11 years old, you would want to get them a CSB, because CSB is a lot less explicit. And so my family says that we are non-denominationals, which, by the way, we tend to really fall more into the Baptist category as non-denominationals. Um, However, I would venture to say that um, I'm more of a Baptist, and I I don't really hear this a lot, but I see how this can translate. Um, that that denominations are heretics, and I see where that comes from, and I kind of like tried to reason with that, and I'm like, well, you can't really go against that if you think about it, because I mean, if God made us to be united in Him, which first and Second Corinthians and Romans and Thessalonians and um, stuff like that, Colossians, Philippians, Ephesians, Galatians, that kind of stuff, which are letters to churches, would not have been written if we could have been united through Christ. And I see that a lot, where we kind of, especially with actual heretics, like, I'm going to make a lot of people mad here, okay? A lot of heretics like Mormon and stuff, where we try to blend those into, non-denominational churches, and we tend to allow some room for that, but there really is not a lot of room. So I hear this so many times, and is that Romans 1:26 through 27 was meant for pedophilia, and you can't read this without saying that It wasn't. Let me read it for you. That is why God abandoned them to their shameful desires. Even the women turned against the natural way to have sex and instead indulged in sex with each other. And the men, instead of having normal sexual relations with women, burned with lust for each other. Men did shameful things with other men, and as a result of this sin, they suffered within themselves the penalty they deserved. I hear this also a lot that especially from my sister that now I have to think of what now I feel like I'm gonna get flagged for saying sex on this live stream. But if they want to ban me, then I'm probably just gonna appeal or try to at least try to sue them. But anyway, CSB. For this reason, God delivered them over to disgraceful passions. Their women exchanged natural sexual relations for unnatural ones. The men, in the same way, also left natural relations with women and were inflamed in their lust for one another. Men committed shameless acts with men and received in their own persons the appropriate penalty of their error. I hear this a lot that the version of the Bible was written only what whoever wrote it wanted to hear. King James, I hear a lot that only what he wanted in the Bible was actually in the Bible. And I want to let you know that King James was from the Old Testament. He was not from the New Testament. He wasn't even alive when this was written. So I don't get how you can say that and think or know that and then say that it was only what he wanted to hear. And it was written by this, not even by King James, but by his servants. The King James Version, by the way, all of this is just a translation. It's just the way that they speak. King James knew Hebrew, and I don't think he knew English yet. But no, he knew Hebrew, and this language was based off of how he talked in Hebrew. So when he spoke this, he spoke it in Hebrew, which was then translated into English. So that's where we get the word, ye and thou shalt and reprobate. But yeah, no, the argument that it's only what the translator wanted to hear is completely stupid. It's in fact the opposite. Because my church, what we talk about is what we do is we preach straight through the Bible. And what that means is you're going to hear something you don't want to hear. But you need to hear it because it's in this right here. You can't just look at, and I see a lot of liberal Christians do this, and there's a difference between liberal and conservative, and I'll get to that in the next episode. But I see a lot of liberal Christians, and especially since they just discard the Bible. So when they preach, they have a lot of women's pastors and stuff like that, and they have a lot of gay rights in their church. And when I say that, it sounds like a bad thing. Pretty much is, but the only thing with that is that Christ welcomes anybody into his arms, But if we flip over here to the Great Book of James, go back into CSB, flip over here to the amazing Book of James, and I'm like I said, I categorize myself into more of the whatever it's called, the Baptist denomination. And I'm not saying Catholics are heretical. I'm saying some of what they believe in lines up with heretical stuff. And I'll get into that next episode again, because I don't have a lot of time. So how this passage can relate to liberal Christians is that this passage tends to be more more. It's talking about a radical change in your life, and I see that a lot of people look at this in the Protestant Bible and be like, well, I mean, isn't that telling you to be Christian? It's not. And we can flip to another translation where it'll say, instead of faith in works, it'll say faith in deeds. So if you think about it with deeds, it's more here. That was works as well. When we think of it as deeds, we think of more you have to do this, and this and this. Same thing as works, but faith without good deeds. So I was gonna say something, but I can't remember. I hear a lot that this is more of a Catholic thing, telling you you should be Catholic. It's not. It's telling you good deeds, and good deeds and works are pretty much the same thing. However, when Catholics talk about good works, they talk about more of confessing to a priest, or saying the Lord's Prayer, which, yes, it does command us in Matthew. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying they. And Hail Marys. Hail Marys is another thing that they tend to do, and that's where we get the football term, because they throw it up in a time of need, or a time of desperation. I'm not criticizing the Catholics, by the way. I mean, my best friend is a Catholic, and so yeah, and I've talked to him about this stuff, and he doesn't and I make sure to go into the Catholic translation whenever I talk to him about it, and he just kind of discards it, and I don't really follow the Pope, and I know that the church is at the same level or higher as the Bible, and that's where I disagree the most with my friend, is that the Bible is pure, is purely what the disciples of Jesus Christ wrote. It was what they wrote, and I don't think that they can be wrong, and I think to go against the Bible directly is a sin that separates you from God. Which, by the way, the definition of sin is separation from God. So when I talk about this is more, if you see a homeless person on the street, you would give them $20. It's also telling us that there has to be a radical change in our lives between that and I don't know what it's doing, but there has to be a radical change between you when you were not a Christian and you when you were a Christian. So, and what James talks about here is just that, and he uses the metaphor, just as a body is dead without breath, so also faith is dead without good works. And notice how it says the word good. We typically think of good as divine, from God, opposite of evil, not bad, obviously. But in this case, good is used as thoughtful, doing God's work. And so, people who are atheists will, or just not Christians, do this out of thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make this person's day better. Some sort of, they're not doing it for God, and that is the problem. Is that us as Christians, we're doing it for Him, because He comes before us. This homeless person might never have heard of the name of Jesus Christ in his life, and that's what we need to do as Christians, is go out and disciple. When you give someone $20 on the side of the street, say, hey, I just want to let you know, Jesus loves you. He saved my soul. He turned my life around. If you call to Him and you do what this says, your suffering now will translate into eternal salvation later. Maybe that there's a little more purpose to that, whether there's a little more purpose to that than just going out and being like, hey, how are you? Here's $20. I hope you go spend it well. Don't spend it on drugs. Go spend it on food or something, or clothes. Which, yeah, I mean, being a Christian, we should give these people some money. They need to get back on their feet. However, if they don't know what exactly they're, all right, let me rephrase this. If they're not getting up on their feet and working, it's more of, and it's one thing if they had a criminal past and have been changed, because you can't really get a lot of jobs as a past criminal, because it goes on your record. And anyway, or if you're addicted to drugs, you got to get off of it. But obviously, you look at Zach Williams. If you have ever heard Zach Williams' testimony, which, by the way, it's on Spotify, it's in his Austin City Limits album. You should really go listen to it if you listen to Christian music or just Zach Williams in general. That you you just kind of ponder and think like, this man's life has been turned around by Jesus Christ. And you see what money he makes now. And he doesn't do it for the money. You could tell he's very, very genuine in his music, speaking out in what God wants him to speak out with or about. He's very genuine in his faith now, and I'm pretty much saying that people can change. That was, I want to say it was June 10th, 2012. It's oddly specific. So I haven't even seen the date yet. So let's check if I'm right. In 2012. Not that this really matters, but it was very much publicly specified. That was, he quite literally said June 10th, June 10th, 2012. Anyway, it's not that important. Yeah, you should really listen to his testimony. It really hit me hard. And yeah. So I'm gonna end with this one point, and it is that we are not the bad guys. The liberals, the Democratic Party is not the party of peace. It is the party of war. And so, yeah, I'm sorry for the long pause. It's kind of awkward. You look at the Democratic Party, and they typically are the ones that fight for transgender rights. And by the way, I believe in all rights. I believe that everyone should have their own right to something. Even transgenders. Do I believe that they should be walking into a locker room and changing in front of a woman? A man that thinks he's a woman walks into a locker room full of women. I mean, that would make me seem kind of uncomfortable in that situation. And as it should, because I mean, you're watching a man with an artificial hole inside his body chained in front of a whole bunch of women. I mean, how do you not know that? Anyway, I'm kind of like Charlie, and when I say that, I mean I'm almost exactly like Charlie. I'm pro reality, is what he would say. He said that he had a couple of, I mean, he had like two, maybe one or two trans people at Turning Point USA. He said he treated them the same. I mean, he's not gonna just, discriminate against people. No, he was a good man. People tend to think of him as a terrible man. He was a great man. I would like to see you try to present him as a bad man towards me. And in fact, I might as well include that in my next episode. So yeah, that ought to do it. If you would like to send me an email, it is the Conservative Justice Podcast at gmail.com. We currently are not accepting donations right now because I do not have any sort of thing set up for donations. So instead, if you want to donate to me, I'd ask that you donate to Turning Point USA. They're a great corporation, made by a great person, run by a great CEO, which is Erica Kirk, I'm pretty sure now. Which that woman is a strong woman. I mean, for her to get up in front of 650,000 people. Which, by the way, I think it's completely stupid how they never showed Charlie Kirk's funeral on on any of the other platforms, because I mean, there were a couple of I hope not a lot of people watch Charlie Kirk die. I can't even think of what I'm saying. Yeah, 5.2 million viewers tuned in to watch Charlie Kirk. I mean, holy cow. I actually had no idea that MSNBC had under 300,000 and CNN had 342,000. But yeah, sorry, I was getting a little call there from a friend of mine. But yeah, it was such a brave thing to do, to get up in front of 5 million people and say that she forgave that man. I mean, like, you can't tell me that, you know, you have sympathy for a man like this. That was the only face he held in the entire like court ruling. He never changed his facial expression once. And that is a face of a stone cold killer, and Erica Kirk was able to get up there and say, I forgive him. How do you do that? How do you do that as a woman whose husband was just killed? It's really, really, really hard. And I think that she was great to do that. And I loved that man too. I loved Charlie. I wasn't talking about Tyler. What Tyler did was wrong. He was completely. In fact, it doesn't sound good, but I mean, if you really think about it, I think Tyler Robinson should be given the death penalty, and it's because of, you know, how he just did that out of hate. He said that he didn't like him, and Charlie said something that Tyler didn't want to hear, so he shot him, and that's just not right. And this guy was a furry. He was a hardcore furry too. I mean, it's kind of surprising, like, a man with a face like that being a furry. I mean, I don't know what I would have thought. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Email, as always, is conservative justice podcast at gmail.com. I can't really afford a business title yet. You can follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, a lot of the other platforms except for TikTok, which you know, I think I might be joining soon. All you viewers, which are none at the moment, have a great day. Honor God in all that you do. If no one told you yet, I love you. Jesus loves you. And honor and praise him no matter what happens. We have had a revival in the U.S., and that was great after Charlie passed. I love you. See you next time on the Conservative Justice Podcast with your host, Mason Young. Bye-bye.